It's Mailbag Monday once again, and as usual, I start the openings with opening my beer. Today it is As You Wish Buttercup Salted Caramel Chocolate Porter from Sucrums Brewing in Winnipeg. They describe it as being a sweet pastry porter with the addition of pink Himalayan salt, chocolate malt, caramel malt, and a bit of milk sugar. Oh, and a little bit of oats, too, for that traditional oatmeal porter taste. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Interesting. The chocolate's not overpowering. The salt's not even really noticeable unless you're looking for it. Well, that's a pretty cool little beer. So let us start with the actual package openings with the old favorite expansion board module. Always love those. It is a kit. Oh, I do like replenishing my kit supply. This one's got a big honkin' chip with a big heatsink on it. So chips in this form factor are often either like an audio amplifier or a high current driver or something like that. This one is a TDA7297, and I don't recognize that right off the top, but we'll look it up in a minute. And then the board has the big chip across there. We have out 1 and out 2, in 1 and in 2, couple of resistors, couple of capacitors, a diode, and 12 volts, and that's it. Should be a simple little kit to put together. DC 12 volt TDA 7297 amplifier board, 15 watt plus 15 watt dual channel track stereo module kit DIY. Here's a name we haven't seen in a while. Alice 110 1983. This cost me $1.98 Canadian with $3.33 shipping. So $5 and a bit of change for a 12 volt stereo amplifier. It can handle either 4 or 8 ohm speakers up to 10 to 30 watts. I guess, 30 watts is 15 aside, so that makes a certain amount of sense. 12 volt power supply, size, not much else. Right, next in it says screw. It's got some weight to it, so it might be hardware. Oh, there is screws in there, and there's various different sizes of standoffs as well. That's an interesting assortment of hardware. So we have 6 different sizes of brass, I'm assuming, or brass colored standoffs, and some screws and some nuts to go with them. So I'm going to assume that those are probably metric, which is why I ordered the screws with them, because, as I've said before, metric hardware is horrendously expensive in Canada. It doesn't make any sense, but it is. And of course, standoffs are not something you commonly find in your local hardware store, so might as well stock up. I remember using some standoffs recently in, that power supply that I built, and I noticed in my standoff collection I didn't have a large enough assortment, so now I hope I do. 250 piece solid brass M2 M3 hex column standoff spacer screw nut assortment kit PCB. I got the M3 male and female set for $19.96 Canadian with free shipping. Woohoo! And there is everything that's in this kit for a total of 250 pieces. So we got 50 each of the screws and nuts, and then 25 pieces each of 6mm, 8mm, 10, 12, 15, and 20mm long standoffs. Well, this is rolling right along nicely. Let's see what's next. It says signal relay. Those aren't relays, they're switches. Oh, but these might be relays. So first I have a bag of 5 single pole dual throw center off switches. These are a handy little form factor for the type of hobby bits and pieces that I do. They claim to be rated at 6 amps, 125 volts AC, but I will never use these for anything over probably 24 volts DC. So those will be really handy to have in stock. 5 pieces, on, off, on, 3-pin, 3-position mini latching toggle switch, AC 125 volts, 6 amps. Got those 5 for $2.73, which is not a bad price for these, especially with free shipping. Nothing new down here other than the physical dimensions, which are 33.5 millimeters tall. So from the end of the contacts to the end of the handle. And these two bags both have the same part number, and they've each got 5 modules in them, which I assume are relays. Omron branded, allegedly, G6K2FY, 5-volt DC. Even got what appears to be a CSA approval logo on them. So on the back we have 8 pins, which I assume 2 are coil, and the other 2 sets of 3 are going to be a dual pole switch. So DP-DT relay in a tiny little surface mount package. I don't usually choose surface mount intentionally, so I'm wondering if I misread the labeling or if these were really cheap at an auction. And also in the same package from the same seller, 5 pieces DC 5-volt SMD. Okay, I guess I did know that. I don't know why I bought surface mount. Anyway, this is part number, signal relay, 8-pin Omron Relax. Right. I bought 2 sets of these for a total of 10. $2.96 each for the 5 of them. And again, free shipping. And there is the size of them, which matches what I've got. So I don't know why I would have ordered surface mount relays, though. I don't normally want surface mount. I want through hole just because I go cross-eyed working with this tiny little surface mount stuff. Maybe someday if I spin up a circuit board, I can use these for something. Or I could probably just dead bug onto them and use them that way too, because little 5-volt relays are probably a pretty handy thing to have. The actual data sheet from Omron claims that these are capable of pulling 2 amps on their contacts, so they're not going to be pulling huge loads, but they are still reasonable for a lot of smaller hobby projects. Assuming, of course, that these are really Omron and that they match the actual specs, you know. Rolling right along here, we have screwdriver. Yeah, feels like it could be tools. Oh, not screwdrivers, nut drivers. Okay. These 2 nut drivers are metric. This one's 5.5 millimeters and this one is 8 millimeters. And I'm hoping that these fit with standard metric sizes of nuts that I have in stock. Hang on here for just a moment. Okay, yeah, so this 5.5 millimeter is in fact the correct nut driver for an M3 nut. So that is good. And this 8 millimeter is the correct one for an M5 nut. So that is excellent. I wasn't sure. I'm pretty sure I looked it up when I was ordering these, but I'm still relatively new to metric hardware because, as I said before when I opened these guys, metric hardware is much more expensive than it should be here in Canada, so I don't have a lot of familiarity with it, but it is the way of the world, and it's the way that a lot of the 3D printer stuff is coming and a lot of the electronic stuff is coming, so I might as well embrace it and tool up. OTDTY metal driver, socket, wrench, screwdriver, hex nut, nut driver, hand tool, 3 millimeter to 14 millimeter. So I bought both of them from the same seller, clearly. This is the 5.5 millimeter, which cost $4.02. And the 8 millimeter that costs $6.06. I suppose I should fill in the gaps in here, but I honestly don't know what the other common sizes that I might encounter in the future in metric is. And I don't really want to build an entire set of drivers in sizes that I'm never going to use. So I don't know. Folks that are in Europe and Asia, and I guess Oceania as well, where metric hardware is a lot more common. What are the common sizes that you end up using in electronics projects? Drop that in the comments down below. Let me know what else I should get from this set, because they seem to be reasonable drivers. Or maybe I should pick up the whole set. I don't know. And the last thing in comes through the Canadian reshipping warehouse, so I have no idea. There's no lies on it or anything. Ooh, it's a battery IP camera. That icon suggests that it might be wireless, but nothing else. Oh, there we go. HD, Internet Explorer, Iki, TF card and cloud, 20 frames per second up to 15 frames per second. So we have a little adhesive mount thing. Is that magnetic? No, it's not. We have a USB lead, and we have the little camera here. On top of the camera, we have an on-off and a mode and a couple little holes, which I suspect may be microphones. Got a peely peel thing. There is an SD card slot, and there is the USB connection. Now, I'm hoping that this thing doesn't actually try and phone home. There's no manual. Oh, sorry. Oh, there is a little manual in here. Okay. Oh, damn. It wants an app. I was hoping that this would just work with normal web browser or something and wouldn't need an app, but apparently it needs an app. Of course, it wants my Wi-Fi. It concerns me a little bit to go on the Wi-Fi, but what I'm probably going to do initially is set it up just on a captive network and run Wireshark against it for a while and see if it's trying to phone home. Oh, it can also run in access point mode. Okay, so it creates its own little hotspot. That might be safer to use if I can trust the app. It claims to be able to operate down to -50, so I could probably use it in the garage, which was kind of what I'd initially intended. But for a cheap little camera, I may just tear into it initially and see what's inside it. Or maybe try and use it just with an SD card, use it offline. A9 mini camera, surveillance, IP, Wi-Fi HD, 1080p. Why do they have all this in French? Whatever. Sans fil, so it is wireless. Version nocturne, which means it can see in the dark, theoretically. Okay. Anyway, that cost me $9.23 with free shipping, so even if it's just a teardown, it's worth it just to see what's inside the thing. Like I said, if I can test it on a captive Wi-Fi network and use Wireshark to demonstrate that it's not trying to phone home, then maybe I will actually try and use it. Okay, so those aren't microphone holes. Those holes are actually lights. All right, wide angle lens. It does have infrared. Okay. And USB charge. Does that mean it's powered from USB, or does it have battery? Ooh, it can see scary people. Record good times and provide you with security. Ooh, and this is in fact what I got in the kit. USB data cable, a 360-degree rotating base, and the machine. And there is the contents of today's Mailbag Monday haul. Wide variety as always. So these two nut drivers should come in handy. And yeah, folks that are in countries that have been metric a lot longer than Canada, please chime in. Should I get some other sizes for electronic tasks, or are these two going to do me, being M8 and M3? I don't know what's the most common stuff, but I'm suspecting that those are the two most common ones. They're the ones that I've got in stock anyway. This little amplifier kit should be fun to put together. These switches are always useful things to have in stock for projects. Just a miscellaneous amount of different sizes and shapes, because you never know what your project's going to demand. These little surface mount relays, they can handle 2 amps in the contacts, and they've got dual pole, dual throw contacts. So I suppose they could power, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I was looking for dip relays, and I ended up accidentally getting these, but it's pretty clearly labeled on the listing, so I don't know what was going on. Anyway, I'm sure they'll come in handy for something eventually. Anyway, got all these standoffs and screws. Excellent stock again, just to stock up the shop because you never know what you're going to need. And then there's this little camera. So it is magnetically mounted, so you can stick it to stuff. That's kind of neat. And then this little base here has a bit of metal in it, so it can magnet onto there. Claims to be 1080p. It claims to be infrared. I'm guessing it's probably not all that higher quality than that cheap little SQ8 camera I got a bunch of years ago. But if I can trust that it's not trying to phone home to China, then maybe it will make a good security camera for the garage. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, that's all that stuff. Thanks for watching. As always, thanks to my YouTube channel members and my Patreon supporters for helping fund this madness, helping me keep my beer fridge full. As always, that's a very important thing. And yeah, thanks to everybody else for watching every time I do this. Questions and comments down below. As always, I will talk to you later.